Krishna dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with our Srimad Bhagavatam study of second canto, chapter 7 and verse number 20. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your time and association. I'll share my screen again. 1 second, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj, please take over.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chakram Chadiksvavihatam Dasasu Svatejo. Chakram Jadiksvavihitam Dasasu Svatejo. Manbhatareshu Manovam Sudara Bibrati. Dushte Suraja Sudamam Vyadadat Swakirtim. Satyetra Prishta Usatim Pate Yams Charitrai. As an incarnation of Manu, the Lord became the descendant of the Manu dynasty and ruled over the miscreant kingly order, subduing them by his powerful weapon wheel. Undetermined in all circumstances, his rule was characterized by his glorious fame, which spread over the three lokas and above them to the planetary system Satyaloka, the topmost in the universe. Purport, we have already discussed the incarnations of Manu in the first canto. In one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus, changing one after another. In that way, there are 420 Manus in a month of Brahma and 5,040 Manus in a year of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years according to calculation, and as such, there are 504,000 Manus in the jurisdiction of one Brahma. There are innumerable Brahmas, and all of them live only during one breathing period of Mahavishnu. So we can just imagine how the incarnations of the Supreme Lord work all over the material worlds, which comprehend only 1/4 of the total energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Manvantara incarnations chastise all the miscreant rulers of different planets with as much power as that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who punishes the miscreants with his wheel weapon. The Manvantara incarnations disseminate the transcendental glories of the Lord. Magyan Timirandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksun Belitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimakte Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Devasesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarne Vanchakopa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Pe Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Manus is one of the 6 categories of incarnations, Manvanavatar. The Lord takes a role of a lesser being and establishes religious principles accordingly. There are the books of Manu. We call them the law books of society, by which principles of religion and also moral and aesthetic values are also disseminated as a standard for human beings to follow according to that time period by which they rule. The Lord takes the position of these different personalities to manage, and he has his associates, he has his followers who carry out his instructions. They usually deal with smaller aspects of the creative function and the movement of the living entities within the confines of the particular time period by which history is being recorded. So we hear about Swayambhuva Manu when we read about from the third canto. He was a powerful king, and he had a daughter named Devahuti, who married, of course, Candramauli, and that is the subject matter of most of the third canto, their marriage and the life together, and ultimately the birth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as the child of Devahuti and Candramauli, and that was he taught Sankhya Yoga, and that was Kapila. So we get a little insight. And then in the ninth canto, and there's a whole chapter about the different Manus, how they appear, what is their duties, what time periods they appear in, and some of the activities that they initiate during that time. So here, this is more or less a calculation of these different Manus and how they appear and how often they appear within the context of the life of Lord Brahma. So Brahma lives 311 trillion 40 billion years. So within that life period, there are 504,000 Manus, which are all incarnations of the Supreme Lord. So the Lord incarnates in so many different forms of himself in order to facilitate rule within the material world, to eliminate irreligion, to give pleasure to his devotees, and to establish religious principles, of course. So here we're hearing a little bit about the Manus. We can go on to the next verse, and this is about Dhanvantari. Dhanvantarischa Bhagavan Swayameva Kirtir Namna Nirman Purura Rujan Ruja Astahanti Yagne Chabagam Amritayur Ava Aruda Ayusha Vedam Anusash Anvitirya Loke. The Lord, in his incarnation of Dhanvantari, very quickly cures the diseases of the ever-diseased living entities, simply by his fame personified. And only because of him do the demigods achieve long life. Thus, the personality of Godhead becomes ever glorified. He also enacted a share from the sacrifices, and is he who inaugurated the medical science of the knowledge of medicine in the universe. Report. As stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, everything emanates from the ultimate source of the personality of Godhead. It is therefore understood in this verse that medical science, or knowledge in medicine, was also inaugurated by the personality of Godhead in his incarnation as Dhanvantari, and thus the knowledge is recorded in the Vedas. The Vedas are the source of all knowledge, and thus knowledge in medical science is also there for the perfect cure of the diseases of every living entity. The embodied living entity is diseased by the very construction of his body. The body is the symbol of diseases. The disease may differ from one variety to another, but disease must be there just as there's birth and death for everyone. So by the grace of the personality of Godhead, not only are diseases of the body and mind cured, but also the soul is relieved of its constant repetition of birth and death. The name of the Lord is also called Bhavasaudhi, or the source of curing the disease of material existence. So Srila Prabhupada speaks about disease in two ways: the contamination of the soul as it becomes affected by the material energy, which can be described as a type of foreign implementation upon the soul. Therefore, it is characterized or compared to a disease also. As a living entity does not belong to the material world, but somehow, due to whatever inordinate desires the living entity has that cannot be traced, but we can understand the result. The result is that the living entity is forced to leave the kingdom of light and come to the kingdom of darkness in order to act out his desire to be separate from the Lord. And that is the ultimate principle of the fall down of the living entity. So that's like a disease which covers the soul's real, pure spiritual nature. Here we're also hearing about material disease. Dhanvantari he came during the churning of the milk ocean, and he brought a pot of elixir, which was the immortality of life. And that is the science of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is Ayur means life, and so this is the science of life, how to live in such a way that one can be free from disease. It may not seem possible, but there are examples where one can live free. So this science is an exact science. It is given by the Supreme Lord himself. And now we know it is Ayurvedic medicine. Of course, the science is quite deep, and it's very hard to find anyone who can carry out the science of Ayurvedic medical treatment according to the Vedic teachings. There are three aspects to it, and one of the aspects is the spiritual aspect. You don't find that in modern allopathic medicine, where they simply see the symptom, analyze the symptoms based on the quality or characteristics of the symptoms. I try to understand a little bit about it and prescribe some treatment based on the symptoms. Ayurveda is different. It doesn't go for the symptoms, it goes for the cause. And therefore, they understand that disease is an imbalance in the bodily structure, which are called doshas. There's three doshas, and if they're balanced accordingly, the body is healthy. There is some inordinate balance in these one of these three. There is a slight movement away from pure health, and if it gets too much, then disease manifests like that. The Ayurvedic medicine depends on the digestion. If the digestion is good, then usually the person is healthy. When the digestion goes below the standard or falls below its actual norm, then their disease can come up in different ways, because digestion is the key to good health. And of course, eating what is necessary and how much you should eat, and eating at the right times, all of this helps to bring about a healthy existence like that. Srila Prabhupada very boldly said that my morning walk, my daily massages, And my Ayurvedic medicines gave me 10 more years of life, which he really contributed to these three activities. In terms of the external reason, of course, was Krishna behind all of this, but ultimately the initial or the external manifestation took that form. So if one wants to really understand what is the sicknesses in the body, then this pure science is still there in many. The science exists in its pure form in Kerala in South India, which is the home of Ayurveda. And Ayurveda has been now distributed throughout the world as many Ayurvedic doctors leave India and come to the West to do their services. So without getting into too much details about it, if one wants to maintain good health, allopathic medicine has some benefit, obviously, but Ayurvedic medicine can help you prevent diseases. Even if you have one, they can cure it, and they can also they're very good at preventing by establishing a lifestyle that is in line with the health of the body. Because usually ill health is due to wrong lifestyles, which also includes inordinate sleeping patterns, in very what we say unscheduled eating patterns, stress. As Srila Prabhupada said, there are three reasons why disease enters. One is overeating, two is uncleanliness, and three is anxiety. So anxiety is one of the biggest causes of disease. There's a few books by certain persons who show the connection to the mental state and the physical deformities. In other words, based on your ailment physically, it can be traced back to a certain consciousness that led to that particular disease. Not only consciousness, but an activity which facilitated that disease. So this is also part of Ayurveda too, but it's given a different category of it's categorized differently. So yeah. So we recommend devotees to always see Ayurvedic doctors and just to see what is the health of their body and what they need to do to bring it back, or to live in such a way that you can. It's recommended. I'm not saying we should give up allopathic medicine, but in comparison, allopathic medicine is speculative, whereas Ayurvedic medicine is exact. It deals with the source of the disease and not simply the symptoms. The symptoms are they can also move from place to place throughout the body and may not be indicating of the disease, but may be indicating of something else. So allopathic medicine is generally very speculative, although they're good at fixing broken bones like that. They can do that very good. And they might be quite good at doing surgeries in many cases. But in general, to understand how to stay healthy, that you can find in Ayurveda. But people don't take Ayurveda because even if they get sick, the process of cure within the Ayurvedic system is more long-term than the allopathic quick fix, giving you a shot or giving you some medicine, and you think you're cured, but what happens is you get rid of the symptom, but the disease moves in a different part of the body, or it doesn't really completely become eradicated. So, but Ayurvedic medicine is more exact. and more, and it's coming from the Vedas. Dhanvantari is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and he brought the nectar by which the demigods and the demons were churning the ocean of milk to get the nectar, and that was the nectar of immortality, and that's what he brought in that pot. The pure science of how to remain, how to live long. You see, there are people who live, even in this age, 200, 300 years. You can go to the Kumbh Mela, and you'll see that there are certain yogis, they live up to 300, 500 years. You don't see them. They come out only during Kumbh Mela, and they stay within in the mountains or in the regions of the forest like that. But they're hundreds and hundreds of years old. So, but Kali Yuga is so bad that the longevity of life is one of the deficiencies that is being thrown upon the living entities in this age. Memory is less, bodily strength is less, mercy obviously is less, and longevity of life is also less. And the Vedas mention 8 things that are drastically decreased in this age of Kali, and one of them is duration of life. So if somebody lives 70 or 80 years, they think that's old age. But the body, if it's taken care of nicely, like in previous ages, people lived up to 1,000 years. In the age before that, people lived to 10,000 years. In Satya Yuga, people lived, certain sages lived to 100,000 years. Valmiki Muni lived almost 100,000 years. So you say, how is it possible? It is. If you know the science of life. And also the spiritual aspect must be there also. It's not simply a material arrangement or calculation. And because one of the aspects of Ayurvedic medicine is the spiritual side also. And they include that along with their treatments. That is the real doctors in Ayurveda. Some doctors don't include that nowadays. They make a business out of it. And just deal with giving medicines and giving good analysis on lifestyles based on their evaluations of the sickness. But the spiritual side also has to be there, because you'll see that chanting the holy names and reading spiritual literature, engaging in spiritual activities, elevates, it empowers the soul. When the soul becomes illuminated, empowered, by that, it gives energy and resources to the body. So staying spiritually healthy is also one of the principles of staying materially healthy also. Because the soul is the energy source within the body. Yeah. So it's a holistic understanding of how to live, both materially and spiritually. And that is all found in the Vedic literatures. Okay, so we can stop there and open it up for discussion.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Nice explanation of these verses. Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada is saying that the disease may differ from one variety to another, but disease must be there just as there is birth and death for everyone. So what does that mean? Like disease must be there means it's there?
Yeah, as long as you're in the material world, there's these 4 factors are there: birth, death, disease, and old age.
Okay.
But there are rare cases. I came across one article when I was in India of a man who was in his 60s, and he hadn't eaten or drank any water for 40 years. No food, no water. So how was he living? So this body, if you know how it works, you can somehow keep it healthy. But the challenge is Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is full of contamination, both materially and spiritually. Materially, there's so much pollution in the atmosphere, and diseases are everywhere. I was just listening to Prabhupada this morning. He was saying everybody in Kali Yuga is sick. Everybody.
Yeah.
Because Kali Yuga is just full of contaminations on all levels. And anxiety, as we mentioned, is one of the main causes of sickness. If you can be happy all the time, you won't be sick so much. That's why we recommend chanting and dancing as not only a spiritual elevation, but it's good health for the body too.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, if you can please turn on your cameras. Yeah, I see raised hands.
Kumar
Yeah,
is
Shiva Kumar, Prabhu, please go ahead.
nice and loud, Shiv.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj and outcomes. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet.
Can you
Please
increase
accept.
your volume? Yeah.
Yes. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, in relation to today's class, Maharaj, it would help if you could little bit elaborate the role of karma, Maharaj, of the devotee in terms of the bodily inconvenience or the suffering that he goes through. How can we understand?
Well, karma is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as something that is temporary. This Bhagavad Gita deals with 5 subject matters. One is karma. Karma can be destroyed, karma can be altered, karma can be eliminated by the power of one's devotional service. When you come to devotional service, automatically as you engage, your previous karma is being nullified, both good and bad karma. And then you're engaged in what is called devotional service, which is akarma. It doesn't bring about any further karma, and it elevates the soul towards the Supreme Lord. So karma is temporary. It can be overcome. You can change your karma through the spot. If you read Nectar Devotion, it's explained there. Karma is temporary. So devotional service particularly destroys karma, destroys the effects of karma. We have the example when Ajamil remembered Lord Narayan at the time of death. All the reactions of his sinful activities were completely destroyed simply by remembering the holy name of Narayan. So, yeah.
Just one follow-up, Maharaj. When you say the good karma, the reactions from the good karma are also removed, does it mean any opulence, anything that is that
You
would be?
may be destined to experience some form of material happiness, but that's replaced by spiritual happiness, which is the product of the soul's existence. So you're not losing anything. You may be destined to inherit $1 million, but if it's not good for your spiritual life, if you get that $1 million, you may also leave Krishna conscious and try to enjoy in the material world again. So Krishna will see that, all right, so he'll destroy that karmic reaction. So yeah, it's anything can happen. Well, anything material fits into the law of action and reaction. So that means not only so-called good and so-called bad. From the perspective of spirituality, there's no such thing as good karma. Everything is bad because It connects you with the material world and it locks you into a cycle of birth and death. Therefore, even so-called good karma is seen as an obstacle for one's progress in spiritual life. Can be. Unless you take the results of your good karma and use it in devotional service, then it becomes purified. Say you inherit $1 million, then instead of taking that $1 million and leaving Hare Krishna and going to the Bahamas and sitting on the beach getting a suntan and looking at all the girls, you can, you use that $1 million to help support preaching in the world. So yeah, there are examples like that. And I won't mention the name, but there was one devotee who inherited a large amount of money, and he used that money for, propagating Krishna consciousness. He gave $1 million to one particular uh, fund where they were collecting money for big projects. So yeah, for building temples like that. So, but the danger of getting good karma is that you may decide to try to enjoy the benefits of that good karma. But if you use it in Krishna consciousness, then that good karma becomes really good as it elevates you. Just like it says, the one who builds a temple for Krishna in the material world, Krishna will build a temple for that person in the spiritual world. So yeah. But so-called good and bad karma, the results are not necessarily all according to one's evaluation. Just like in the material world, people may inherit a large amount of money, but then they may go down in life. They may find that they become more degraded, more sinful because of that. Or they find that now more people become their friend. Why? Because they want to get something from them. So money is one of the examples of some good karma, or wealth, you might say, but it doesn't necessarily bring success. It could bring one, a lot of misfortune, a lot of suffering also. So what is really good karma is things that bring you closer to Krishna.
Thank you so much.
And then from the other angle, Prabhupada said, he uses an example. He said, you may have been a murderer in your last life, and now that you haven't paid your debt, because it says if you kill, you must be killed. So somehow in your last life you killed someone, but that you haven't paid for that karma. You come to Krishna consciousness. What happens? You cut your finger. You get a small, tiny reaction for that heinous crime, and that's all. If you were to pay the full force of the crime, then you wouldn't be able to, engage in devotional service. So Krishna will protect your devotional service and give you a small token reaction of some negative karma that was lingering due to something in the past, both either in this life or in the previous life. So devotees who come to Krishna consciousness actually feel relieved of a lot of suffering, because that's one of the qualities or characteristics of devotional service. It frees you from the reactions of previous sufferings. We may not understand that because we don't really know how much we're due to suffer or enjoy. We can't really see that. But if we take the words of the Shastra, then we know that we're being, what we say, elevated spiritually, and we're being freed from our reactions of material good and bad results. That's automatic. So Krishna, the devotional service is all auspicious. Mhm.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Just picking up a little bit from this question of Shiv Kumar Prabhu, it is very rare, isn't it, for good karma to bring us to Krishna consciousness. Generally speaking, when people are distressed, they're extremely distraught, then they turn to God, as is described in Bhagavad Gita also, the distress, the inquirer, the seeker of wealth, etc. So actually, bad karma is actually beneficial because then at least we turn to Krishna. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
It's mentioned, but that's not an absolute principle because it says that by accumulating pious activities for many lifetimes, one can come to devotional service. That's mentioned over and over again. Pious activities, which are the activities of the mode of goodness, such as feeding the poor, in the Vedas it says if you plant trees, that's an act of charity and a mode of goodness. If you dig wells, if you these two things are mentioned. But anything that is done that characterize service to others in a beneficial way is considered to be in the mode of goodness, even within the realm of material. Like that. Yeah, so pious activities, when they build to a certain level, one won't be inclined to go further and look into spiritual life.
Mm.
It's not just those who are suffering. That's also one of the reasons people come.
Mm. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Yes, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Mm-hmm. The tendency is that not tendency, but the possibility of those who come by way of suffering, when their suffering is relieved, then they leave Krishna conscious and go back to material life again. But those who come by pious activities usually don't go back.
Mm. Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj, I have a question on this topic you are discussing. When you are saying that Krishna reduces our punishment, whatever we do, so how can we understand? I'm always confused. Like Krishna, when Krishna is taking care of us like this, and also other point is like we are not a pure devotee to reach to Krishna directly. We are serving only Krishna through spiritual master. So I feel like how Krishna is connected to us or he's taking care of us directly. I'm sometimes confused about this, Maharaj.
Well, he guides you through the spiritual master. The spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, so through the guidance that he gets from Krishna, he uses that to guide his disciples.
Mm.
So the spiritual master knows what he has to. He knows how to guide his disciples, and that's how we get Krishna's mercy through the spiritual master. But Krishna is also in the heart. He's antaryami.
Mm.
He's situated in the heart, and he's also in the heart giving valuable instructions to us continuously. The question is, we don't turn to Krishna in the heart, we turn to the external energy to receive whatever we need. But Krishna is there within the heart. He's saying, do this, don't do this. Go here, don't go here. Do this in this way. So he's guiding us within. But to hear the voice of the super soul is mentioned that one's mind has to be completely controlled. When the mind is completely controlled, the super soul is already reached. And then if the mind is not controlled, you can't distinguish the voices that are coming from within as being the voice of the false ego or the voice of the super soul. When the mind is controlled, then you can hear Krishna speaking to you. He's there.
Okay.
He's the closest thing to us.
Mm.
He's the best friend.
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj.
Mhm.
Sorry, Manas Prabhu, for jumping in. Please go ahead.
No problem, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to you, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I have a small doubt. So when you mentioned that the accumulation of the pious activities help us to get the shelter of the Krishna, in taking the reference of Sri Madhurya Kadambini, there it was mentioned that any activity being done, even if it is a good activity, good karma, that is still materialistic. And we do not get Krishna's mercy through any materialistic activity. So can you just please put some light on this or how to understand this?
Well, these good activities, they're mentioned as the quality of the mode of goodness, which are the good characters of the soul's existence. Ours, one's good character. There's a whole list of qualities that make up the mode of goodness. So people who are pious, and they're actually influenced by the mode of goodness in their activities. And because of that, their good qualities are manifested in their activities, at least to a certain degree. In Kali Yuga, it's a little bit less because the modes of passion and ignorance are more stronger in this age. And so that tendency leads them to higher understanding. Yeah. It's the accumulation of good karma. Of course, good material karma can also bring one to the heavenly planets. And so people in India, especially Indians, both in the West and in India, are always looking to do good welfare work. Giving in charity is one of the biggest welfare works. Giving in charity to the right agencies. And that elevates their consciousness to qualify them to get a better birth in the next life. But if they actually take up devotional service, then those activities were the ones that brought them to devotional service. Otherwise, they can get birth in the higher planets and become a demigod or one of the associates of the demigods and live on the higher planets. And that's one of the anarthas that we have to avoid. And Prabhupada said, many of my disciples will reach Swargaloka, which is the heavenly planets. That means they fail to finish their devotional service. So getting good births and somewhere in the universe in higher planetary systems is a result of pious activities. And that's direct. But it also can lead to Krishna consciousness. Because people will see that actually devotional service is the real qualities of the living entity and not simply the material definitions that come by way of the activities in the material world.
Sure, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, if you read, you read the Bhagavatam,
Yeah.
Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also speaks about karma, devotional service, good qualities, elevations,
Yeah.
different levels down. So that, I mean, many of you who are sitting now in front of me online, you know, you've performed pious activities in previous births and in this birth, and it led you to Krishna consciousness. That's obvious. Many of you, you didn't come because of distress. Usually it's people who live in the Western countries who come out of distress, because living in the West is distressful. But of course, living in India now has taken on the qualities of the West, so it's the distress level is being, you know, exported everywhere now.
Right.
You'll see. I mean, you know, by your own example, people in India are more inclined to service. They have this service attitude. People in the West are inclined to do service in order to gain something material. People in India will serve for the sake of service. Give you an example. Just like the word thank you. We all use it, right? We say thank you. But in Vedic culture, there was no such thing as thank you. Because if you said thank you to someone, that was an insult. Because the person who's doing the service is the person who's actually benefited. So why should that person say thank you? That means you're breaking the trust. You're making it sound like a business deal. I want to serve you because I enjoy serving you and giving you pleasure through my service.
Mm.
So if you say thank you, you're diluting the relationship. But now it's commonplace. And if you don't say thank you, you're in trouble. So things have changed.
Yeah. Sure, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you. Got the answer.
Thank you for saying thank you.
Thank you.
You didn't say thank you, I would have been just as happy.
I'll not say anything more now.
Yeah, darn. To take birth in India is a higher birth. It's even higher birth than to take birth in the heavenly planets. It's a high birth to take birth in India because people who take birth in Barbhumi, that means they're pious, they're religious, they're inclined to spirituality, they're inclined to the mode of goodness. But now the influence of Kali has changed but it's still there. It's still there very strong in many areas of India, but it's becoming watered down now by the Western ideal of sense gratification and economic development.
Thank you, Maharaj. Ekachakra, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Augustia Prabhupada. I have a question in relation to your response to Manas Prabhu's question. You mentioned that a lot of devotees like Prabhupada said, will go to Svargaloka even though they've been practicing devotional service. And we know in the Bhagavad Gita, there are verses which explain what happens to devotee if they don't finish. So what distinguishes one to come back and give to the earthly realm, I guess, to continue their journey if they don't make it? And what is it that we should watch out for so that we don't get distracted and end up in Svargaloka but actually finish our journey? What is the distinction?
Well, that verse in the Bhagavad Gita also includes the birth on the higher planets. Suchinam Simatam Gehe Yoga Brasta Prajayate. Birth in a pious family, birth in a religious family, birth in a mercantile wealthy family. So that is concessionary to allow for people to have everything they need, and then they don't have to work and struggle hard for it, and then they can focus more on their real goal of life, which is to develop their relationship with the Supreme Lord. So your question is, again, just can you just summarize your question again?
I guess what is it that we get distracted by, and that's why we may end up on Svargaloka instead of going all the way.
Well, this age is called the age of distraction. And there are so many opportunities to move our consciousness away towards the material. And there's unlimited varieties of forms of distraction. So if we start to, or for whatever reason, there may also be one will struggle in devotional service, but still they can't, for some reason, they can't overcome certain attachments. So they give up the struggle and accept the attachment and then go on in life on that level. So attachments are very gross and very subtle. So unless we purify the soul from all material contaminations, both gross and subtle, and then the soul has to again take on another material body. So, for instance, we were just at the retreat, and the verses that were spoken by Bhutabhavana, the different subtleties of material attachments. Even though one has given up lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and envy, then you remember, what is that next verse? There is still that pratishta, the dog eating, the lady who eats dogs, sitting in our heart. Remember that part? Yeah. So that is pratishta, the desire for adoration, the desire for fame, the desire for some kind of glorification. In other words, to be known as a great devotee of the Lord. But a devotee is Trinadapi Sunichena Tayorivasa Hishnuna. Amandina Mamandadena Kirtaniya Sadarahi. That's the characteristic of a devotee. Very humble, very tolerant, free from pride, free from any desire to enjoy in any form, either gross or subtle, simply engaged in serving the Lord for the pleasure of the Lord and his devotees. And then you saw that dog-eating lady that sits in the heart. There is also her companion. What was her companion's name? You remember?
Is it the donkey?
No, that was that's the donkey represents, pride.
Is it deceit?
Prostitute?
Yeah,
Harridan?
who said deceit?
So,
Yeah, it was deceit. Deceit. You're actually deceiving yourself, thinking that you are actually a great devotee. And therefore, you think you're better than others, or you think you're more advanced, you think you're entitled to certain accolades and perks because of your and when you get them, you acknowledge your position even more. And when you don't get them, you feel like something is wrong. Don't they know who I am? I'm so great. I open so many temples. I have so many followers. Look at all the wealth I have by Krishna's arrangement. So, yeah, that's called Rangatarangini. That's mentioned by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kandambini. Determining one's spiritual advancement simply by the external perks that come by way. Krishna will give you material happiness, he'll give you wealth, he'll give you position, he'll give you power, and you're using that for Krishna service. But then if you don't ultimately get rid of that consciousness that it is all about me, and you forget that actually everything is the mercy of the Lord coming through the power of your own devotional service. So these subtleties, deceit, and what was the other, and pratishta, these are the two that carry on to the very finer forms of subtle contaminations of the soul.
Hypocrisy, Maharaj.
Huh?
Deceit and hypocrisy, I think.
Yeah, hypocrisy is more full-blown. Deceit is more subtle. Mhm. Mhm. You don't even, those who have it may not even recognize they have it. It's so subtle. But others can see it. That's why if we stay in association to devotees and serve the devotees, you'll be able to make nice progress, and you'll be able to recognize when these anarthas start appearing in your own activities, in your own consciousness. But if you don't take sufficient association, especially with advanced devotees and peers, both, you won't even recognize you'll have them. There'll be no way to reflect your own anarthas. You'll simply go on thinking you're okay. I'm so humble, I'm proud of it. So Raghunath Das Goswami squeezes us right to the core with those 11 verses from Manashiksha. And he gives the antidote, bring the consciousness into Vrindavan.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
You want to take Sakshi maybe because I already asked a question.
Okay. Sakshi Mataji, please go.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to you. I just have a follow-up question on what you just answered to Ek Chakra Mataji. So when we recognize what anarthas we are facing while we are in the association of devotees, so I have heard that instead of getting angry upon ourselves, what should we do when we detect anarthas? So we should not get angry upon ourselves, right? So
Only on one anartha you should get angry. That's laziness. If you become lazy in Krishna consciousness, it says it's good to get angry at yourself. So I mean, kick yourself into action again. Instead of kicking somebody else, kick your own self. And yeah, so but yeah, we shouldn't get angry. We should understand what is that? Bhakti Siddhanta says, because I see faults in others indicates that I am so full of faults in myself. The devotee always thinks, I'm the lowest. I'm fallen. It's only by the mercy of my spiritual master and the association of devotees that I'm still practicing devotional service. The devotee never thinks he's advanced or she's advanced. And when we recognize our anarthas, we should just face them and see what we have to do to not feed into them, but use the spiritual aspect to overcome them. Like if your tendency is to get angry, learn how to forgive. Forgiveness is an antidote or the neutralizer of anger. If you feel pride, then become proud about how great Krishna is. Be proud about how merciful your spiritual master is. You can direct your pride towards something else that is actually transcendental. If you feel greedy for material things, be greedy for Krishna conscious activities. If you feel envy, then serve the object of your envy.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Yes. And being around association of devotees, that really helps to detect anarthas. That's what I also saw.
Yeah. It's important. As long as we're in the right mood when we're associating with devotees. Not that I come in the association of devotees so they can worship me. I come in the association of devotees so I can take the opportunity to learn and to serve. Devotees teach you, devotees help you, they give you opportunities for service.
Thank you very much. So it's the consciousness that we really have to work upon.
Everything is based on consciousness, 100%.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Sometimes something happens to us and we don't like it, and it seems like it's caused by another person. And so we start finding fault with the other person. But then if we reflect and you think, well, why is it happening? And maybe there's something about us that's causing that to happen. And then we reflect, why Krishna did you put me in this situation? What is it? What is that can learn? What can I change?
So Guru Maharaj, when these kind of situation happens, at that time, we try to reflect on why Krishna is giving us this situation to us. And also, for some time, we are able to deal with it. We are able to accept it. But then again, that thing happens and then again, we lose our temper. So what to do in that case?
You fixed it the first time, fix it the second time, the third time, until it's fixed, till you can accept it actually as an opportunity for remembering Krishna, learning something that will help you in devotional service, becoming detached from some material activity.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Guru Maharaj, this retreat was a huge eye-opener in so many ways, not just the talks by you and Bhavana Prabhu, but the association of devotees was a big reflector of so many anartha. That's why I said it was pretty unsettling. But it was necessary in order to understand what those faults are and make progress by trying to eliminate them. That said, your point about Pratishtha, I recall two really wonderful incidents of instruction. By example, I remember attending a seminar where His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was conducting that seminar in Washington, D.C. It was a very important topic, also mental health and so on. But at one point, he saw some devotee, struggling to find a place. Maharaj got up, walked over to where the chairs were stacked, picked up one chair, brought it over to that devotee, opened it up, and offered it to that devotee to sit on. I was just blown away. Here's the spiritual master traveling to 25 different countries on his preaching tour, but he saw that need. He didn't hesitate. He walked over and did that simple, small service for just a simple, ordinary devotee. That's something that has stayed with me for many years, even now. Another
Well,
incident.
you can understand one thing, that the mind of a person like that is always in the mood of service. So if they see an opportunity to serve, they can either arrange for the service to happen, just like he could have said, pointed to one person, said, get that person a chair. But he decided to do it himself. So in either case, he could have initiated, the service. He could have said to one person who was listening to class, do it, but he wanted to do it himself. That was his prerogative. Maybe he was teaching by example.
Definitely, Guru Maharaj. That has stayed.
Maybe he also wanted to just to do it, just to, please that, to make the arrangements for that person to have a chair.
Right, right. Yes, Guru Maharaj.
But the main thing is devotees who are in that mood, they're always thinking how to serve. Sometimes we go to the airports and we run into non-devotees and we find opportunities to serve them. By holding a door open, by saying a nice word to them. They drop something, and we pick it up and hand it to them. Oh, you dropped your boarding pass here. My little things, a devotee will always look for an opportunity to do something for someone that will be helpful. That's the devotee. He's always thinking like that.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. May I share one more example of a great devotee?
Yeah,
So this was in New Vrindavan at the Festival of Inspiration. Mother Krishna Nandini and several of us had come to present something about Grihastha Vision team. It was early morning in the temple room. Japa was going on. And I saw Bir Krishna Goswami Maharaj walk over to where Mother Krishna Nandini was, offer her obeisances, full obeisances. And of course, Mother Krishna Nandini immediately reciprocated and offered her obeisances. And I was really, really, intrigued. I said, here's a sannyasi. He doesn't have to offer obeisances to anyone. And I know Bir Krishna Maharaj very well because he is my GBC. I said, Guru Maharaj, you offered obeisances to Mataji? She said, yes, she is my senior god sister. So I was really amazed by that humility and Vaishnava etiquette.
Yeah. Devotee doesn't think he's advanced. He thinks he's a servant. Advancement not necessarily is indicated by position, but by consciousness. Consciousness is the emblem or the evidence of advancement, not position. Position may indicate something, but it doesn't really mean it's an absolute principle.
Thank you, Maharaj. There are a few questions on chat. The one is from Jyotirmai Mataji. She is asking, Hare Krishna, Pranam Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Which medicine is good, Ayurvedic or allopathic medicine?
See, what's the question again?
Which medicine is good, Ayurvedic or allopathic medicine?
Well, I'm prejudiced, so you asked the wrong person. But I'm prejudiced because I've seen, since I've been dealing with Ayurvedic now straight for the last 5 years, my health has really become really stable. My lifestyle is not so stable because I'm always traveling around and jumping around like a monkey wherever I go. But general health is good because of Ayurvedic medicines. I take Ayurvedic medicines. So that's my experience. If you talk to other senior devotees, they'll give you different answers. But as I mentioned, Ayurveda is the original form of Vedic, original form of curing illnesses in the body. That's the origin. That's the origin. Allopathic medicine was simply developed in some due course of time a few hundred years ago. Allopathic medicine was given its prominence by big millionaires and corporations that wanted to make money from the drug companies. I have that documented also. At the turn of the century, and at least in America, there was an even keel amongst different forms of medicine, such as homeopathic, naturopath. What is the other one?
Herbal medicine.
What is the one? It's like can't remember it, but I have a whole video on that. And this doctor highlights that during the turn of the century, the big corporations, the Rockefellers and the Carnegies got together and did a research on all of the medical schools around America. It took 5 years. And then they pushed Ayurvedic allopathic medicine in the forefront. They put in billions of dollars in order to do that. So everybody thinks the Ayurvedic doctor, the allopathic doctor he's king. He knows what he's doing. But the statistics show in America today, and this is from the same doctor, and it's also proven by statistics, that 15,000 people a month die of the cure. They go to the doctor for some, cure, and the doctor kills them. Very well. This is the Food and Drug Administration in America has released these statistics. It's not some conspiracy theory. It's coming from mainstream. The FTC, the CDC, and the FDA have released these statistics. People in America, at least in that country and other countries too, that are dying from the cure. 15,000 a month. That's the present statistics. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, Maharaj.
But there have been people who have been also cured by allopathic doctors, but they don't have, in the present day situation, the statistics are quite bad.
Yeah. Maharaj, yeah, thank you so much, Maharaj. So we have one more question by Amritnam Mataji. She is asking, Hare Krishna, we have sometimes seen that even sinful and criminals have landed in Krishna consciousness. So does that mean that sin was meant to direct them to Krishna?
That's talking about most of us. What do you think Prabhupada started the movement? They were drug addicts, you know, potheads, illicit sex, all kinds of crazy things were going on. Prabhupada started the movement from the hippies. But Prabhupada was so pure, he was able to extract from them their attention to what he was giving them, and they became, what we say, attracted. He knew how to bring out their good qualities. He said, I turned hippies into happies. So most of the people who come from Western, and maybe a few Indians, but most of the ones who come from Western backgrounds, there is not a very good, what we say, what is it called? The resume? The resume is not so good.
Thank you, Maharaj. There is one more question by Agastha Rishi Prabhu. He's asking, please help me understand one thing. When we try to serve Gurudev and the ISKCON project, more obstacles seem to arise and our focus gets diverted towards solving problems. How can we regain our enthusiasm and return to our seva wholeheartedly?
Well, if you've been given a service, you should try to work it out in such a way that you can complete the services in a proper way. So if you're working with other devotees, then that requires some cooperation, some communication. If you're working on it yourself, then you have to see how to do the service in the best possible way. It requires some intelligence. If you don't have the intelligence to see it, then you should inquire from higher authorities. How should I approach this? This seems to be the problem. How to overcome this problem? So it's almost like, when we face a situation, it's not always the way we want it. We may have to deal with obstacles or reverses or challenges, but these things are opportunities to use our abilities and our intelligence and our, what we say, determination to engage in devotional service. So we shouldn't be what we say discouraged by these things. We should see these as opportunities to offer some real. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his own prayers, he says, what are my happinesses in devotional service? And he goes through a whole long list. And then he ends by saying, my happiness in my devotional service is the difficulties I encounter in serving you. If you want to make a diamond, you have to put it under some pressure. If you want your good qualities to come out, they need to be tested. But we have the formula for achievements. We have the formula for victory. We have the formula for success. We just have to use that formula and understand it and apply it and learn from our mistakes and continue to work at it. That's all. Devotional service is, it's a process of purifying. It's not just about getting the job done. It's actually purifying your consciousness. Purifying from your material attachments. Purifying from you thinking you are the doer, and whatever I do, if I do it right, it's successful. If I do it wrong, it's unsuccessful. If you do it right, it's Krishna's mercy. If you do it wrong, it's because you did it wrong. Maybe you don't like that one so much, but anyway. If everything comes out properly and nicely, then you give credit to Guru and Krishna. If it comes out it doesn't, then you just blame yourself. And that way you make progress. If we are not about, just making everything materially, astute or materially correct, we're about purifying our consciousness from our attachments by serving the Lord and accepting the mercy and that the Lord gives us in the form of difficulties.
Thank you so much. Vrishabhana Prabhu and Mataji, you raised your hand previously. Please go ahead if you have any question or comment.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept our Dandvat Pranams. All glories to you and glories to the devotees here. I don't have a question, but earlier there was a comment from Mataji that what is better, Ayurvedic medication or allopathic? Guru Maharaj is very conversant with Ayurvedic treatment. All I can share is for many, many years, I am 90% on Ayurvedic treatment and about 10% on allopathic. And to quote an example, for years I have had difficulty suffering from skin disease, dryness, itching, psoriasis, you name it. And I've had treatment from GP, the doctors, specialists, tried homeopathic. And finally, through good advice, I went to an Ayurvedic center in Kerala. And like Guru Maharaj said, Kerala is the home of Ayurveda. And I landed in a place and I was there for 3 weeks, and they treat your internal disorder. That's the cause of all the problems. And finally, I can say I left my problems there. And it's a question of now maintenance, what to eat, what not to eat, and the medication to keep it in order. But from time to time, I would love to recharge this treatment and also address other issues in the body which surface.
Mm-hmm.
It does work, but you have to also depend on doctors and treatments here. For example, cataracts, I had to depend on local service. It's just a brief comment, but it does benefit. Hare Krishna.
I have to show you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. That's an example.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many successful things in allopathic, but it's limited. I quoted those statistics from the FDA from America. This is the present situation. People are dying from the cures in allopathic. And if you want, I can send you the video. You can, 6 minutes long, explains the whole thing. People should choose based on their own experiences. But we trust doctors, and we think doctors are gurus. It's like, but it's not always like that. I just had heard one incident where one lady went to an Ayurvedic doctor and he gave her the wrong medicine for her ailment and she got worse. He realized after he evaluated her disease. So you can see even in Ayurveda, it depends on the doctor too, that they can also make mistakes. But if they know the science of Ayurveda, they usually don't make mistakes. What the mistake is, or what the lack of cure is that people can't stay with the regimen given by Ayurveda. It's long term. So for instance, if you go for a treatment and you get some massages, you get various types of medicines, you get various types of what we say, there's panchakarma, which is 5 parts. Now, after you finish, you might be doing 1 month's work of rejuvenating yourself through an Ayurvedic program. Then it says that you have to take 1 more month to allow that cure to manifest within the body. And therefore, if you jump back to your normal routine again, you will minimize the effects of the cure. So people have a hard time with Ayurveda because it's long term in many cases.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Dear devotees, any more questions or comments? Maharaj, we have reached 1.5 hour mark, so
Yeah.
can we stop here?
Let's we can chant for a few minutes here.
Yes, Maharaj. I'll announce tomorrow's class before chanting. So tomorrow's class is with Bhakti Sangha group, and the class time is 12:20 p.m. UK time, which is like 20 minutes later to our class, regular time. And the topic is Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, first chapter, 20 to 29 verses, 8:1, 20 to 29. And Maharaj is going to give class tomorrow to Bhakti Sangha group. And
Okay.
I'll put the link in WhatsApp groups, and you all can join. Thank you so much.
Pekka Chakra.
Yes, Marge.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to you about one thing. So after this, I'm going to chant for 2 rounds and then I'll give you a phone call.
Sure, Marge.
Yeah, you're going to be happy to hear what I have to say. It's not like my normal harassment.
You never harass me. I'm always happy to speak to you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Maharaj.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Yeah. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Krishna, Hari Krishna, Krishna Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram, Hari Hari, Krishna, Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Rama, Rama, Hari Hari, Krishna, 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 Hari Hari. Hari Rama, Rama, Hari Hari, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hari Rama, Rama, Hari Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, 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 Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, 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 Hari Hari. Hare Ram, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hari Hari, Hare Rama, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, 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 Hari Hari. Hare Ram, Ram, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, 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 Hari. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Oh. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hari, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hare Hari, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hare Ram, Hare Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hare Hari, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hari Hari, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hari. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hari 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 Ram, Hari Ram Ram. Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari. Hari Ram Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari Ram, Ram, Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari Ram, Ram Hari Hari. Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari Hari Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna, Hari Hari. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna. Hari 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 Ram, Ram Hari Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna. I think Maharaj left the call. Anybody?